states that the state shall promote and protect the diversity of a language of people in Kenya and promote the development as well as use of indigenous languages, Kenya Sign Language, and other communication formats and technologies accessible to persons with disability as well as a hearing impairment. The Constitution further states in Article 120 of the Constitution, and this is in regards to the official languages of Parliament, that the official languages of Parliament shall be Kiswahili, English, and the Kenya Sign Language, and that the business of Parliament may be conducted in English, Kiswahili, and also a sign language. Subsection 2 of that states that in case of a conflict between a different language or different language versions of an act of parliament, the version signed by the president shall prevail. So basically, the aspect of sign language is also factored in parliament, and the standing orders of the House on matters sign language. Parliament and the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation usually provides for a sign language interpreter that is at the bottom right of your screen to make it more easier for members of the deaf community to get to understand the proceedings at either the National Assembly or the Senate or the bicameral parliament, if you may like. And by and large, the Kenya Sign Language Bill, Senate Bills number 9 of the year 2023, is a bill coming in to streamline operations and enhance inclusion of persons living with disability, and in this case, are those with hearing impairment. Well, away from the Kenya Sign Language Bill, a bill originating from the Senate, Bill number 9 of the year 2023, the National Assembly will this morning be resuming debate on the local content bill. This is National Assembly Bills number 45 of the year 2025 by Honorable Jane Kagiri. The debate on this bill has a balance of about 34 minutes, where members of the National Assembly are set to ventilate on the issues of content creation in the country. This bill is a bill that is seeking to provide for regulations of content in the country. The other bill that is coming up for debate is a bill on penal code. And this is Penal Code Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bills number 53 of the year 2024 by Honorable Anthony Oluoch, the Member of Parliament for Mathare constituency. And this is a bill that is by and large seeking to decriminalize matters suicide in the country. The Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Gladys Boss is in the chamber this morning, ready to preside over the business of the National Assembly. Gladys Mungai is my name. Allow me to hand over for this live broadcast. Enjoy your viewing.
Honorable members, let us pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the officers of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of important trusts in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider all matters that shall come under deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interests you have committed to our charge. Amen. The Sergeant at Arms, I direct that the quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes.
Well, there is a 10 minutes directive given by the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honorable Gladys Boss, who is currently presiding over the business of the National Assembly, for Sergeant at Arms to ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes. This being a leeway for members of Parliament within the presence of Parliament to make their way into the chamber of the National Assembly as the business of the House has commenced. But the House has been faced by a small issue on a hitch on quorum that will be addressed by that 10 minutes period. As on your screens, you can see members of Parliament streaming into the chamber to ensure that that very necessary quorum has been attained for the House to proceed with the consideration of business before it. Already the whip, Honorable Silvana Sosoro, has stepped outside the chamber to get to rally members within Parliament to make their way into the chamber to allow for the proper curation of the House. And as you wait for that quorum to be attained, my dear viewer, allow me to take you through the Penal Code Amendment Bill of the year 2024. Before I handed you over for this live broadcast, I was just informing you of this Penal Code Amendment Bill of the year 2024, sponsored by Mathare Member of Parliament, Anthony Oluoch. And it is a bill seeking to amend the Penal Code to delete Section 266 of the Constitution. The proposed amendment will decriminalize suicide and attempted suicide are being seen as a serious problem requiring mental health interventions and not be treated as a criminal offense. The move of this bill notes in his bill that reducing the global suicide rate by 1/3 by the year 2030 is a target of both the United Nations, that is UN, Sustainable Development Goals, and the World Health Organization, WHO, Global Mental Health Action Plan, and that various countries have committed to taking measures in this particular direction. The mover continues to state in his bill that the World Health Organization, a policy brief on matters decriminalization of suicide, prevents that an impediment to meeting this goal is the fact that suicide attempts remain illegal in at least 23 countries worldwide, and decriminalization of suicide and suicide attempts represents one critical step by the government in ensuring that efforts have been put in place to prevent suicide. The mover further states that further, criminalization rather of suicide will not prevent people from acting on suicidal thoughts, and it simply stops them from reaching out or seeking for help in terms of acute crisis. So this bill is providing for decriminalization of suicide in the country and to ensure that persons are facing mental health issues are open to seeking help from counseling facilities across the country as opposed to taking their own lives or entertaining suicidal thoughts. The indication is that the quorum has been attained, so allow me to hand over for this live broadcast.
Sergeant at Arms, you may now stop the quorum bell. We are ready to proceed. First order. First order.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, I have a communication on a complaint against the chairperson of a House committee. Honorable members, I wish to convey that the office of the Speaker of the National Assembly is in receipt of a formal complaint from the outgoing chairperson of the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, NCIC, raising serious allegations on the conduct of the chairperson of the Public Investments Committee on Governance and Education, the Honorable Jack Wanami Wamboka MP. Honorable members, in the letter, the Reverend Dr. Samuel Kobia, CBS, states that in addition to the alleged open hostility, harassment, and demeaning treatment of officers of NCIC by the chairperson, the NCIC has credible concern regarding allegations that the chairperson has demanded inducements as a precondition to grant audience or favorable consideration during committee proceedings. He concludes by seeking the intervention of the Honorable Speaker to cause an impartial investigation into the allegations, which, if proven, constitute abuse of office and a violation of Chapter 6 of the Constitution and the statutory provisions on leadership and integrity. Honorable members, consequent to Reverend Kobia's letter, the member of Homa Bay Town constituency, the Honorable Peter Kaluma, CBS MP, has also formally written to the Honorable Speaker on the matter. In his letter, the Honorable Kaluma claims to have found possession of the letter from NCIC and urges that if the complaint is not urgently investigated and addressed, it may, and I quote, disable the Parliament of Kenya in the discharge of its oversight mandate. Honorable members, drawing from the precedents of previous speakers, and as the Honorable Speaker has rightly held during this 13th Parliament, any allegation of corrupt practice, bribery, or attempted bribery is a stain on the privilege of the institution of Parliament, which calls for expeditious investigation and action. As a House, We have recently participated in the passage of the Conflict of Interest Bill 2025 and are all fully aware of both its ramifications and the implications of the broader ethical framework contained in Chapter 6 of the Constitution, the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act, Cap 65, and the Leadership and Integrity Act, Cap 185C. Members are also fully aware that upon taking oath of office, each of us subscribe to the Code of Conduct to members of Parliament, contained in the 4th schedule to the Parliamentary Powers and Privileges Act, Cap 6. Honorable members, the established practice of the House requires that once an issue touching on privilege of the House is raised, as has now been done by the Honorable Kaluma, and the issue must be dispensed with as a matter of priority. Honorable members, the standing orders and the practices and precedents that we observe ordinarily require the Speaker to guide the House on the next course of action on the matter of privilege without delay. However, the House is now faced with a rather novel issue. Whereas the records of the House indicate that the Public Investments Committee on Governance and Education comprises of a total of 15 members who discharge the mandate of the committee, the complaint at hand is couched in fairly specific terms against only the chairperson of the committee. Honorable members, it would therefore greatly benefit the Honorable Speaker to receive any intervention or comment on the allegations from the House before proceeding to guide on the matter. I invite any intervention or comment, if any. In doing so, I will accord priority to any member of the Public Investments Committee on Governance and Education present in the House this morning, and further direct that the interventions and comments be strictly limited to the complaint as conveyed against the chairperson of the Public Investments Committee on Governance and Education and any proposed remedy. Thank you, honorable members. Those honorable members who want to comment on this, please press the intervention button. I will give priority to members of the committee. Could members of the committee press the intervention button if you'd like to comment? The Honorable Mwenje, are you a member of committee? Do you want to comment? I can see you've pressed the button.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the letter, the communication you've just made against the chairman, who is Jack Wamboka. Honorable Speaker, just for the record, I sit in that committee. And as it is well known, I'm also in the leadership of the House. And they are quite alarming, those allegations that have been made against the Speaker, against the chairman of the committee. Honorable Speaker, I think it would be unfair, and I think Article, if I'm not wrong, 43, on a fair hearing, is 37, thank you for guiding, 47, thank you for guiding, that we give the chairman a chance to be heard on this issue, because it comes as a surprise to us who sit in the committee. Would need to know if there is any proof to these allegations that have been made against the chairman. If there's, we allow some form of investigation to be conducted. And as a committee, I would want to be on record that the committee has always acted in the best interests of the public and as required by our constitution. And I believe the members who sit here with me know that our committee has even had one of the highest attendances. We've never even actually lacked quorum. This committee is charged with looking at the books of accounts for universities, TVETs, and various other institutions. So, Honorable Speaker, actually we are supposed to even sit this morning and actually go over a number of institutions. So therefore, I believe we may need to perhaps stand that down and allow maybe the powers and privileges, or us will be guided by yourself, Honorable Speaker, on how we proceed going on. This committee, just noting, is actually the one committee where we even elected a new member of parliament, the Honorable Boyd Were, is now the vice chair of this committee. So it's giving first-timers a chance to even lead. So, Honorable Speaker, I think in all fairness, I think we should give the Honorable Jack Wamboga a chance to come and be heard and actually respond to these very serious allegations. But I would ask that you don't condemn the 15-member committee, because the rest of us have acted in the best interest. And as you said, none of us have been mentioned except one member. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
I've seen there's the Honorable Maina Mathenge, member for Nyeri. I'll come to you. I'll come to you. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chair, I am the Vice Chair. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, I am the Vice Chair of the National Cohesion and Equal Opportunities Committee in Parliament. We oversight this commission. At no one time, in the course of our many interactions with this commission, was the matter brought to the attention of that committee of the House. The second issue, Madam Speaker, what is the procedure for any entity out there, any commission, to be granted audience by a committee of Parliament? We would like to be furnished with a paper trail on the number of times that this commission has sought, either directly from their own motion, to appear before the relevant PIC, or the times that that commission has also been invited by that relevant committee to appear, and whether they have honored those invites. Madam Speaker, the reason why I raise these issues, this points directly to the entire integrity, question of integrity by this House, not just the Honorable Waboka and the committee, but every other member of Parliament, every other chair of a committee, and every other committee of Parliament. So as the chair, as the Madam Speaker, the Speaker seeks to offer directions in this committee, we would want to be the decision to be guided by concrete evidence on the matters of how either chairs of committees, or either chairs of commissions, or chairs of or CEOs of parastatals, or any other organization, then process within our standing orders on how they seek and are granted audience. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Member for Igembe Central, Honorable Carrido. I see you're a member of the committee.
Yes,
Give
Madam
him the
Speaker.
mic. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'm a member of the Senate Committee. Madam Speaker, we and the management of the committee, of the Senate Commission, more than 3 times, and every time they turned up, they have a lot of irregularities and mess up with the public funds. Madam Speaker, we invited the commission 3 times, and at all times they have declined to come. So I don't understand, and I fail to understand, where the commission made the chair on the issues and the allegations that they have put in place against him. Madam Speaker, most of the mess that is in that commission concerning the funds and misuse of public funds is all directed to the commission. There are cases where the commission even withdrew money without any notice, without any report, authorizing them to, without any authorization, and we wanted them to come before the committee and explain how they withdrew all that amount of money and how they misused that funds without authorization, and they declined. So, Madam Speaker, the commission should not come to Parliament trying to protect themselves against coming to the committee to be exonerated from the mistakes that they have done. Madam Speaker, if there is anywhere where they have met the chairman and chairman demanded anything from them, they should prove beyond reasonable doubts, because they should not just put allegation to protect themselves for the mistakes that they have done. Therefore, Madam Speaker, as a member of the committee, our committee is known to be a very serious and strict committee. And we have done many institutions, and there is none of them that has claimed we have ever intimidated them or harassed them. We do our conduct as a public investment committee, the way it is supposed to be done, and we are clean on that, and our records are clean. Even attendance is recognizable, and the work that we have done. Now we are clearing 2024, 2025 year in audit. I believe we are among the best committee in this house, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I'll give first Ambassador Sigei.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much for this opportunity I've been given. I want to say that, Madam Speaker, I am one of the members of PIC, and the issues raised, Madam Speaker, are of grave nature. And, Madam Speaker, I would like to support what Mheshimiwa Karido has said, that proper investigations should be done so that we get the gist of the matter. Because, Madam Speaker, to raise an issue without substantive evidence which can be tabled in this House, I'm not protecting the chair at all, Madam Speaker, but what we are saying is this matter should be done in the proper manner which can make this House remain a house of integrity. So, Madam Speaker, I would like to see, as a member of that committee, due process followed so that we can be vindicated as a committee. But I don't protect any corruption, but Chair, this thing must be done to the proper manner. Thank you.
Proceed. Give him the mic. I'll come to you, Honorable Osoro.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, this is a very heavy matter being brought to this House. And Madam Speaker, a very serious matter of this nature laid before you and before us, Madam Speaker, must be followed with very heavy evidence. Madam Speaker, this is putting the integrity of this House at stake. If this is being taken lightly, Madam Speaker, we know very well that this National Assembly House has a lot of issues we are being fought from all over. And a matter of such magnitude, Madam Speaker, must first be given the priority to Honorable Amboka to defend himself in front of us, and followed by the evidences so given to us. And that commission, Madam Speaker, sometimes we sit in different committees. Madam Speaker, these people fight back. When we stand to bring justice, when we stand to bring order, they fight back. This might be some of the things that you are fighting back, Madam Speaker. So I'm happy, Madam Speaker, that if the matter has been brought before you, we would kindly request, Madam Speaker, that also serious evidence is brought before you. You go through it and make judgment. Otherwise, Madam Speaker, if we continue finishing eating one of us one by one, a big house, Madam Speaker, is reduced brick by brick. And at the end of the day, the house will be down. So I support the honorable members when they have said that surely we cannot use rumors. We cannot base on rumors. Honorable Jaka Onami Wamboka is a very honest man with a lot of dignity from the county he comes from. We are preparing to become governor in the future. We don't want these matters to come on him. A future, I don't mean this election, but any other future. This Jack Onami Wamboka, Madam Speaker, whoever alleges this must come with enough evidence. As a son of the soil, I want to get that to the field. Don't fight one of us, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam, for giving this chance, Madam Speaker.
I'm giving first priority to members of the committee, so I'll give the Honorable Member for South Imenti, Dr. Shadrach Mwiti.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I take this opportunity to concur with the honorable members who have just given their opinion on this matter. I know my chairman very well. He is a person of integrity, and this matter appears to be targeted to an individual. Madam Speaker, committees discuss various issues, and this particular committee deals with commissions that misappropriate public funds. Madam Speaker, before this matter should have been brought to this House, we should have got that proof and evidence. Madam Speaker, the honorable member in question is a member who has a future, a member who we are looking upon in this country. I would like, Madam Speaker, that this issue to be ventilated more before we marine the name of the chairman. Madam Speaker, we look forward for fair treatment to this matter. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, the Honorable Osoro. I know you have to travel, so
Yeah,
I'll
thank
give
you.
you an opportunity, even though you're not a member of the committee.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we need to be very careful on how we handle some very sensitive matters that are brought before the attention of this House. Because there can never be a chairman without a committee to start with. You really cannot just mention a committee on one side and then the chairman on the other side. A committee is a formation of so many people. When you're looking at the integrity of an individual, you also look at the integrity of the other members. And you cannot really accuse that particular committee in wholesale and say, this particular committee does this and this. Honorable Speaker, listening keenly to these members that have spoken, well, there are several members that have spoken who are members of that committee. I have been keen to note on whether there is a single member who says, and in this particular point in time, I sent or I was with the chairman and he went and solicited some funds from this other area. Everybody is saying that, you know, we sit as a committee and this is a committee of integrity. This is how we've been handling. And for me, Honorable Speaker, I am keen on the drafter or the complainant of this matter, Honorable Speaker. Because the commission, the particular commission, Honorable Speaker's term is coming to an end, and that particular chair, Honorable Speaker, is actually existing. As we speak right now, we've got a new nominee of that particular committee by the name Bishop Omae, Honorable Speaker. Is the good man of God, Honorable Speaker, going down with the entire commission on his existing? Because we need to be very keen on that. Because we may find ourselves, Honorable Speaker, accusing our colleagues, you know, mob justice. This is total mob justice, Honorable Speaker. In the floor of the House, the proper procedure, Honorable Speaker, ought to have been that the top organ of this House, the top leadership of this House, is seized of this matter. They investigate quietly. They invite Honorable Wamboka and his team, you know, provide evidence, to listen to both sides. And then we say, based on what we've heard, the Honorable Wamboka has done this and this. But, Honorable Speaker, even having that statement read in this floor of the House, Honorable Speaker, is itself wrong. Because really, that shouldn't have been the procedure to be discussed in this House, because that is a committee, Honorable Speaker, that has been appointed or nominated by top parties of this House. The Jubilee Party, the ODM Party, the UDA Party, all the parties, Honorable Speaker, have members in that particular committee. If we start accusing the chairman, Honorable Speaker, in public, then we should accuse also the vice chair, because, I mean, I don't think that the chairman would mess and the vice chair is quiet. I mean, then, unless the chairman is some demigod that everybody fears, which I highly doubt. As a colleague that we sit with, Honorable Speaker, in this House, I don't think this ought to have been the right procedure. We get seized of this matter, Honorable Speaker. Let the House Business Committee handle this matter. We close up this topic from the public. We listen quietly. We get the bishop or I think it's bishop, to bring us the evidence that he has, we hear. We cannot accuse a member of Speaker before we hear his side of the story. It is completely wrong, whether we like him or not, Mr. Speaker, because tomorrow is him, today is him, tomorrow is somebody else. That is not the right procedure. The rules should be followed, not in this floor, not actually in plenary. That should be heard in camera somewhere for the integrity of this House, Honorable Speaker. This, for me, Honorable Speaker, is the wrong procedure. Thank you very much.
Okay, proceed, the Honorable Atsoka.
I thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this is a very serious and grave allegation that has been presented before this House, obviously without a cogent evidence, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, you are a lawyer of great repute, and you understand how important issues raised pertaining to the conduct of a member here must be backed up by evidence, Madam Speaker. When government sagas do not want to appear before committees to answer to their imperfections, Madam Speaker, it is very easy for them to resort to an action such as this that has been presented before us. Madam Speaker, this House has always been accused in one way or another. Just a while back, sometimes last year, not less than the president of this country did make certain allegations that a particular committee, without mentioning which, and its members were soliciting for monies out there. In fact, he went further to say that there are people who call themselves welfare members or in charge of welfare for various committees. That allegation was made, no evidence was presented before this House, the matter died, and now this. Madam Speaker, when people are staring at the next round of elections, such allegations will come forth to besmirch characters of individuals in this House with a view to putting them down in the next round of elections. Madam Speaker, if we allow this to fester, if we allow this to see light of day, I can assure you that all committees in this House, together with their respective sagas that they superintend, will present similar allegations against members of this House. And therefore, it behoves this House at this nascent stage to kill this baby together with the baby together with the basin, so that no busybodies will emerge with allegations that are not backed up by evidence. Madam Speaker, we are not saying that everybody here is beyond reproach like the Caesar's wife. But even if there are certain questions surrounding their character, that must be based on sheer evidence, without which this matter must be taken to the back burner. Madam Speaker, you have what it takes to give a direction that will not only kill this matter, but also send a warning to busybodies out there that this is not a house that is on sale, and this is not a house that you wake up one morning and throw allegations at it without members fighting back. We will fight back over the integrity of this House, and we will be here to defend our colleagues, Madam Speaker. Just as was said in one particular episode, Madam Speaker, that when they went for the journalists, we never answered or we never responded because we were not journalists. When they went for the judges, we kept quiet because none of us was. When they came for us, there was no one to defend us. So, Madam Speaker, we must defend Wanami Wamboka, not because he's a member of this House, but because allegations leveled against him cannot be backed up by a shred of evidence, Madam Speaker. And therefore, I thank you.
The Honorable Rebecca Tonkei, I think you're also a member of the committee, member for Narok.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I stand to distance myself from that report which is an allegation up to this point. Madam Speaker, from the allegation from NCIC and hearing from my colleagues, Madam Speaker, I sit in that committee. And Madam Speaker, the committee that has really worked hard, delivered the many, many reports in this House since we got elected, Madam Speaker, it is PEAK, which is led by none other than Honorable Wanami Wamboka. Madam Speaker, there is the rule of natural justice, and it should have been prudent for the honorable member, my chairperson, to be heard before the allegation is brought on the floor of the House. That would have given him a fair and justice, because it would be very unfair, Madam Speaker, to bring such an allegation on the floor of the House and then have the member, have the member people to hear that he is corrupt and all that without giving him a chance to defend himself. Madam Speaker, I would request the Honorable House, led by our leadership, that you give Honorable Wamboka a chance to be heard. Let the allegations, let the allegee brings evidence to all that they have said, so that we can stand as a House and say this is true. But Madam Speaker, without that, we are not going to allow that, because today it is Honorable Wamboka, tomorrow it will be another member, and it will go on record that this House is a house of corruption. And Madam Speaker, it is not fair to ourselves. So I want to request that, Madam Speaker, this matter be dealt with accordingly, without any prejudice or without any political inclination. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Kitutu Masaba, Honorable Clive.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, while we address this House, we usually say Honorable Speaker. And just by that, we've addressed the House. Honorable Speaker, when we sit in committees, anyone who comes to that committee addresses the chair of the committee. And as such, has addressed the entire committee. Honorable Speaker, this allegation, therefore, does not just address and accuse the chair of the committee, but the committee as a whole, without a single piece of evidence. Honorable Speaker, I'm lucky to have seen what the complainant had written on that piece of paper, which is dated July 2025. Where was that document for Kaluma to write to this House in April 2026? What is inspiring Honorable Kaluma to write 9 months later? The document was addressed to the leadership of this House. The document was received. What is this that is new that has inspired our honorable colleague member to write and specifically pinpoint the name of the chair instead of addressing the committee as a whole? Honorable Speaker, we will not allow political differences to come into this level where we start targeting each other individually instead of taking collective responsibility as a House and as committees. We should not allow our political differences to go this low. It is not long time ago when we were accused as a House to be a house of soliciting bribes. No evidence was produced, and the issue disappeared silently. That any time we differ, we will be pinpointed. Honorable Speaker, we'll always have differences. Some of us will always have our stands. But it will fall below us if it reaches a point where we start mudslinging and trying to tarnish each other's names. Let us differ with the ideologies. Let us fight on ideologies, but not targeting other members. By tarnishing one member's name, and I've heard the Speaker always say this, that when we mess the name of this House out there, none of us is safe. None of us is seen in a different lens. We are all seen in the same lens. If today Wamboka is accused of things he did not do, all of us take the fall with him. None of us walks out clean. We will all be seen as solicitors of funds.
Honorable Gisairo, you're debating the matter. There is no motion before the House yet. This was just a communication.
So, Honorable Speaker, we ask
So
that
I'm just
this
soliciting
matter,
for comments, and then we can move on.
Honorable Speaker, we ask that this matter, to follow the line of Honorable Soro, be looked at from a different sitting, not this sitting. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Pukose.
Madam Speaker, thank you for allowing me to comment on the communication from your chair that I've been in this parliament now for my third term, and nothing like this has ever happened. This is setting a precedent. But once a precedent is set, then what I would urge is that we should be able to look at it, that the Privileges Committee be able to investigate this matter so that the two parties, that is the chair of the chair, the Honorable Reverend Copier, be able to table the evidence before the Privileges Committee, and the Honorable Chakwa Mboka be given an opportunity to be able to respond to those allegations. Because, Honorable Speaker, I think what you are asking us to do is to comment on, or to make comments on how do we proceed from here once this communication has come. And I think Honorable Kaluma is also an interested party because he has written to the Speaker and made comments to it. And the allegations are against the chair of the education, of the governance and education PIC, the Honorable Chakwa Mboka. So I think we should not continue debating this matter. We should let it rest at that so that those allegations can be investigated and then proper procedures are carried out on this matter. I raise my case, Honorable Speaker.
I think there are just two other members who had requested, and then we can come to a close. There is the Honorable Phyllis Bartoy. You've pressed the intervention button. Want to speak to it? Then we'll go to Honorable Didi Raso.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would also wish to weigh on this matter and condemn it in the strongest terms. It is very unfortunate that someone can write such a communique to Parliament, tarnishing another member of Parliament, especially, Madam Speaker, at this time when people are looking up to going for elections. It's also unfortunate because when you have your own differences, you just sort them elsewhere, but not in an honorable House of Parliament like this one. Just like, Madam Speaker, sometimes we see in newspapers, members of Parliament photos are displayed, and the information given is that they have misappropriated NGCDF bursaries. And yet, Madam Speaker, members of Parliament are just, they are not signatories even in that docket. And I always feel it is not right because there is no proof. It's just, it's just like a rumor or propaganda, and it is splashed in the entire nation. And it tarnishes people's names, people's reputation. So I think, Madam Speaker, we should rest this discussion and let it not get to the premises of Parliament again, and let it be done by let the investigation be done by the relevant bodies until it is proven to be true. Otherwise, when we just debate about corruption, corruption is corruption. It takes two to be corrupt. So whoever is reporting, how did that person know that there was corruption going on? So I think, Madam Speaker, I don't support that, and let us be honorable members. Whenever there is an issue like that, let us use other channels to see that we come to an agreement. To come to clear our names, but it's not right to come and start tarnishing each other. We are honorable members, we are leaders, we have been respected, we have been elected by our people in our constituencies, in our counties. And it is, we are representatives, we represent people. So when you stand and tarnish a character, a chairman of a whole committee, it implies that the entire committee is corrupt. It implies that an entire constituency is corrupt because a member is representing an entire constituency. So we should raise that case, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Didi Raso.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, indeed, if a communique comes from the chair concerning a member of this House, it simply states that that individual has been condemned and heard. And this House has enough structures. There is the liaison committee. The Speaker has enough structure around him to elicit for views on such issues as they arise. Honorable Speaker, when anybody in this House is mentioned, and Honorable Kwamboka when is mentioned, that straight goes to his constituency. That his constituency is up in ears, listening to what is happening. And it cannot just be confined to him. It can happen to any of us, not necessarily on this particular matter, but many other issues that can arise in the course of human discourse. Madam Speaker, the issue of complaints against a member or even a chairman should have been canvassed appropriately within the structures of Parliament before they come to the House. And in this particular case, I think it's unfortunate it has happened. But I think yourself and the Speaker, with the help of the clerk, you can still retrace back to find out an amicable position on this. And I think the complainant, and this is why democracy is such a beautiful thing, anybody can complain to Parliament. But when individuals do complain to Parliament, they must be careful not to injure characters of honorable members without due follow-up, whether there are enough facts or there are enough truths, because this is really a water under the bridge, and I think still it can be salvaged. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. And last, I will give to the Honorable Member, nominated member from Meru, Dorothy Kiara, and then I will, I've seen that Honorable Wamboka is in the House. I'll give him an opportunity. Then we can close.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I would wish to just say I really agree with all the members on the sentiments that they have given this morning. Honorable Speaker, my $1 million question is number one. These allegations were brought in the attention of the leadership of the House way back in July 2025, Honorable Speaker. And I'm asking and wondering, how did it take so long to unearth that matter in the month of April 2026? Number two, Honorable Speaker, it is very clear that this particular committee in governance and education, it is the committee that really audits our education institutions. And Honorable Speaker, without even us going round, we know there are various issues in governance in a majority of our learning institutions. And every time you not sit with people and pamper them when there are issues, you have to raise those issues. And I don't think they are always taken very well. And the chairman has to affirm to whatever recommendations they give, so it becomes the target. Honorable Speaker, if we allow this to continue, then this House will completely be crippled, because it will mean nobody will be able to raise issues with anyone. Honorable Speaker, I'm saying the integrity of this House must be safeguarded. Let the relevant structures be followed so that we don't condemn Honorable Jack Woboka, who is a very respected member of his community and of this House. And Honorable Speaker, you are a very senior lawyer. You advise, and we will move forward. The integrity of this House must be protected. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Okay, the Honorable Wanami Wamboka, would you like to say something? Okay, proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. First, I want to appreciate this House for the opportunity to serve as chair of PIC, Education and Governance, for now going to 4 years. Honorable Speaker, it's not easy to be an audit committee. It's not easy. It's not easy to be pack. It's not easy because, Honorable Speaker, we deal with real issues, and at times we bite. Honorable Speaker, I saw that letter from Honorable Kaluma, I think last week on Thursday. A letter that was addressed to the Speaker of the National Assembly 9 months ago, 10 months ago. In the wisdom of the leadership of the House, because of lack of any evidence associated with it, Honorable Speaker, no action was taken. And I'm sure in as long as this House is in the business of auditing, Honorable Speaker, many such letters have come, many keep coming, and many will keep coming, Honorable Speaker. For me, what motive did my colleague have against me? Acting on who? Because even as a lawyer, you need a brief. In whose interest, Honorable Speaker? And I want to ask any person who has any personal difference with me, we can sort them elsewhere, but not drag this Honorable House into the issues, Honorable Speaker, of disrepute. I have served with dignity, Honorable Speaker. We sit long hours with my committee members, committed. Honorable Speaker, we have produced more reports than any committee ever, audit committee ever in our time, Honorable Speaker. We have done our work well. What provoked this, Honorable Speaker, and I want the House to know, NCIC is an independent commission. It has the administrative wing led by the CEO, which is doing a very fundamental job, Honorable Speaker. The CEO and the team, the directors are doing a very good job. But the commissioners of NCIC who left office almost 7 months ago, Honorable Speaker, they have issues that they need to respond to this House, Honorable Speaker. A few months ago, the same committee appeared before a Senate Committee of Cohesion, Honorable Speaker. When the CEO was pushed, he said that the commissioners pushed him to employ their children and to employ their relatives, Honorable Speaker. 22 people. Those are the issues we are auditing, Honorable Speaker. That the commission, Honorable Speaker, when we audited NCIC last week, the commission commissioners misappropriated to a tune of 132 million. It's on record. Those records come from the Auditor General. They don't come from the committee, the PIC committee, Honorable Speaker. There are facts from the Auditor General that these people have misappropriated funds meant for smooth running of that organization, Honorable Speaker. They have used funds without any approvals, Honorable Speaker. We have invited NCIC 3 times. They have never come. Honorable Speaker, the first time we invited them was at Holiday Inn. We were sitting at Holiday Inn. When they came and they saw the issues from the Auditor General, they literally ran away. Honorable Speaker, literally ran away. They have never been audited. They have refused to be audited, Honorable Speaker. The committee that I chair directed last week that the former commissioners must be brought to be audited by this House, Honorable Speaker, even if it means being arrested by the OCS of Parliament Police. Those are the issues we are dealing with, Honorable Speaker. We have never, personally, I have never met the commissioners. Honorable Speaker, we have not. They have not come for the audit. And therefore, it is wrong to say the committee has intimidated, the committee is soliciting for money. For what, Honorable Speaker? And I'm sure, in the wisdom of the leadership of this House, when that letter came and therefore there was no evidence, iota of evidence associated with it, Honorable Speaker, that is why that matter never came up. But how it's coming up now, your guess is as good as mine. I know Honorable Speaker, I know Honorable Kaluma for a very long time. I play with him football, Honorable Speaker. But even Jesus, what Judas did to Jesus, before it happened, if anybody told you that Judas is going to betray Jesus, you'd have said no. That I leave it to God. As to why Honorable Kaluma may want to come and tarnish my name, and to who is using Honorable Kaluma to come and tarnish my name, Honorable Speaker, on issues that are in black and white. It is the Office of the Auditor General that goes out there, audits, Honorable Speaker, and they bring to us this information. The information is in black and white. It is glaring. I gave to this House, Honorable Speaker. This House adopted the reports of my committee. So where is my problem? Honorable Speaker, where is my problem? Lastly, I find it unfair on the leadership of this House. Honorable Speaker, I find it unfair. Because in as much as we are auditing, much as we audit every other day, Honorable Speaker, people will be aggrieved. People will want to run away from justice. People will want to circumvent the justice system, Honorable Speaker. These letters will keep coming. Why didn't you find it necessary to call me? Nobody has called me. Nobody has asked me, Honorable Members. Nobody has told me, Honorable Wamboka, as chair, this is here. What is your opinion? Nobody. I find it in bad faith, Honorable Speaker. In bad faith. Such a thing should never have reached the floor of this House. Because today, it is Wamboka. Tomorrow, it will be Honorable Clive. The other day, it will be the Speaker. We cannot allow this, Honorable Speaker. And I call upon this House, Honorable Speaker, to reject this letter. To reject and return to sender. Because it does not merit even that we debate it in this House, Honorable Speaker. You find it necessary. And I want to thank all the members who have talked on this, Honorable Speaker. I want to thank all of them. You have seen the mood of the House. We cannot allow this to go on, Honorable Speaker. We should not and we should never allow it to have reached where it is, Honorable Speaker. Because it damages the reputation of individual members, but then it goes to damage the reputation of this House, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, you should find it in your wisdom, Honorable Speaker, having listened to the members of this House, that this should never have come and it should end here, Honorable Speaker. And I will look for Honorable Kaluma behind the curtains to explain to me why he would want to do this to me. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable members. I think having had the comments on the complaint against the chairperson of a House committee, and which is based on serious complaints made by the chairperson of the national, or the outgoing chairperson of the National Commission on Cohesion and Integration Commission, and also upon the request of Honorable Kaluma, who's one of our members on the matter, I will take stock of what has been said by the members, and then I will issue a direction in due course. Next order.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers. Order number 6, notices of motion.
The Honourable Member for Nyeri Town, you have a notice of motion. Honourable Duncan Mathenge.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I wish to give notice of the following motion. That aware that Article 53(1)(b) of the Constitution guarantees every child the right to free and compulsory basic education, and Article 21(2) obligates the state to take legislative and policy measures to ensure the progressive realization of socio-economic rights, which include the right to education under Article 43(1)(f). Further aware that the Basic Education Act, Cap 211, obligates the state and school administrators to ensure equitable access, retention, and completion in basic education, and prohibits administrative barriers that exclude learners, noting that the Children Act, Cap 141, requires the best interest of the child to be the primary consideration in actions concerning children, including in education, recognizing Kenya's international and regional obligations under Article 2 and 28 of the United Nations Convention and regional obligations under Articles 2 and 23 of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, Article 13 of the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, Article 11 of the African Charter on the Rights and the Welfare of the Child, and the United Nations Education, Scientific, Cultural Organization, UNESCO Convention Against Discrimination in Education, which requires states to ensure education is accessible, non-discriminatory, and free from economic and social barriers. Concerned that certain administrative practices in schools, particularly compulsory sourcing of uniforms from designated outlets, exclusion of learners for inability to pay for school feeding programs, remedial class charges, or other non-statutory levies have the effect of imposing economic and administrative barriers, and in some instances, creating possible avenues for abuse of office and improper financial benefit. Now, therefore, this House resolves that, 1, all basic education institutions shall allow purchase of school uniforms from the open market as long as they generally conform to the school design and standards, and further, that any attempt to monopolize, control, or otherwise influence the supply of school uniforms is unlawful. 2, all learners shall have uninterrupted access to school regardless of inability inability to pay for school feeding programs, remedial charges, development levies, or any other charges not expressly provided for under the Basic Education Act, or any other regulations approved by the Cabinet Secretary responsible for education. 3, the Cabinet Secretary responsible for the education, in consultation with the Teachers Service Commission, shall within 90 days develop a comprehensive regulatory and enforcement framework, including monitoring mechanisms, a complaints and redress system for parents and learners, as well as a nationwide public awareness program to ensure full compliance. And 4, provide that any person or institution, action or policy that violates this resolution shall be subjected to disciplinary action under the relevant statutes, including the Teachers Service Commission Act, the Basic Education Act, the Children's Act, and the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission Act. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay, next we have, we can go to the next order. Yeah, if there are no comments. Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Okay, those members who have, I think there had been a request for a statement by the Honorable Naibun, member for Turkana South, to be responded to by the Transport and Infrastructure Committee. I think Honorable Kibet was supposed to respond on behalf of the chair. Yes, hold on first. Yes, you're responding on behalf of? No, these were the ones requested for statements will be requested. This is the one to be requested, isn't it? Where are they? Order number 7. Oh, yes. Okay, before we proceed, yes, I hadn't seen the previous page. There is a question by the member for Nakuru Town, Honorable Gikaria. You have a question? He's on the phone. Honorable Gikaria, you had another question.
Thank you,
Before we go
Speaker.
to the responses to statements.
I have a question I wanted to ask, and then I have a response.
Okay, proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Pursuant to Section 42G, Honorable Speaker, I wish to request question number 014 of 2026 addressed to the IEBC. Could the Commission explain why holders of Maisha card who are born from 2004 are not being able to be registered as voters by IEBC, particularly those in Nakuru County? 2, explain whether the inability of the holders of Maisha card to be registered as voters renders the card an illegitimate form of identification, and if so, the basis for its illegitimacy. 3, outline the timelines for addressing the issue to enable the affected persons to register as voters before the closure of the voter registration exercise. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
That particular question will be placed before the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs, which oversees the IEBC. Any member of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee to give an undertaking on how soon it will be provided? Honorable Wako, do you want to give an undertaking on behalf of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee?
Most obliged.
Taking into account that we'll be going on recess from the end of next week.
Yeah, we will do that and see if they can give us by next week. If not, then after recess. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, there was a statement to be requested by the Honorable Member for Turkana South. It was being directed to the Transport and Infrastructure Committee. Proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would want to make a correction. It's an error. I am a member of Turkana North,
not South.
And not Turkana South. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44-2C, I wish to request for a statement from the Chairperson of Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure regarding the routine maintenance and sport improvement of the Lokitang, Kibish, and Lokchogyo-Lokitang roads in Turkana North constituency. Honorable Speaker, the Lokitang, Kibish, and Lokchogyo-Lokitang roads branching from Junction A1 constitute critical infrastructure corridors within Turkana North and Turkana West constituencies. They serve not only an essential lifelines for the local population, but also are strategic gateways to the Ilemi Triangle and vital arteries from cross-border trade with Ethiopia and South Sudan. However, the condition of these roads continue to deteriorate due to prolonged neglect, inflicting profound economic hardship upon the people of Turkana North constituency. Local traders and pastoralists endure exorbitant transport costs, frequent delays, and excessive vehicle wear and tear, all of which erode their meager margins. Perishable goods, particularly fish from Lake Turkana, suffer massive post-harvest losses owing to protracted journey times and near total absence of reliable cold chain facilities, thereby restricting supply to major markets, including Nairobi. As such, given the importance of these roads, they need to undergo routine maintenance, regular grading, enhanced drainage systems, and comprehensive anti-erosions. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on the following. 1, a report on the reasons for delay routine maintenance of Lokitang Kibish and Lokchogyo-Lokitang B1 roads despite the allocation of funds. 2, details of the funds allocated for the maintenance of these roads over the past 3 financial years, including the disbursed funds, and corresponding works undertaken, if any. 3, plans being put in place to ensure the necessary maintenance works are carried out in a timely manner, including an indication of the timelines for commencement of the maintenance works. And lastly, accountability measures being taken to address the failure by the Kenya National Highways Authority, KENHA, to execute the maintenance works. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Any member of the Transport and Infrastructure Committee to give an undertaking on time frame? Yes, Honorable Kibet. Give him the mic. He's right at the back. To your right.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Could we give a response probably in 2 weeks' time, a week after recess? We can invite the member in that meeting.
But you know, you can send out the request for a statement to the relevant ministry now, and then by the time we come back from recess, it will be available.
Most obliged.
All right. Next, we have a response to a statement that was requested by the Honorable Dr. Oundo, member for Funyula. To be responded to by the Energy Committee. Honorable Gikaria, proceed. Honorable Kikaria, it seems like Honorable Oundo, who's the owner of the question statement, is not here. And usually the precedent is that it will pass. Give him the mic. What do you...
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. It is true that Honorable Oundo is not around. But now this is the third day, Honorable Speaker. I know Oundo is a very frequent member of Parliament in our... Would you allow me, maybe we give a written response, and if it's not satisfied, then maybe, because I've been here now, this is the third time, and actually I'm the one who went to the table office yesterday to request that it be. So if it is possible, I could give the written response. If he's satisfied, then he could be able to.
Yes, I think just give him the written response.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yes,
Honorable
and if
Speaker.
he has any comments, he can always raise a point of order at the appropriate
Most
time.
obliged, Honorable
Thank you. Next order. And Honorable Gikaria, you can table the report to the House, just for the record. Thank you. Next order.
Order number 8, the Education Laws Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 51 of 2025, first reading. A bill for an act of Parliament to amend various education laws to require the development of a curriculum and teaching of nationhood science at all levels of learning. Order number 9, the Local Content Bill, National Assembly Bill number 45 of 2025, second reading, resumption of debate.
Can I have the record of who was speaking, who has any balance of time? Okay, on the debate, we have a balance of 34 minutes. I think the last person who was speaking was the Honorable Harrison Kombe, but he had no balance of time. He'd completed. Okay, members who would like to contribute to this particular amendment bill, please press the intervention button. Members who want to contribute, press the intervention button. Seems that okay, Honorable Dorothy Kiara.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to support this very important bill that has been brought to this House by Honorable Jane Kagiri, MP, Laikipia County. The Local Content Bill, National Assembly Bill number 45 of 2025. Honorable Speaker, this bill is very clear in what it wants to achieve. Honorable Speaker, we take our children to school. We implore upon them to pursue various disciplines. And these days, Honorable Speaker, we have invested heavily in TVET institutions, Honorable Speaker. That means this country is not short of manpower in terms of jobs that should be secured in this country. Honorable Speaker, this bill is speaking to us as a country because it is aiming at ensuring that all the investors who invest in this country and they want to employ people to do various jobs, starting from the lowest to the highest. Honorable Speaker, it should be mandatory that 60% of the jobs in their companies are secured by local people. Honorable Speaker, but what is happening today, we go to most of the foreign entities and we find it is a mere partly of around maybe 20%, sometimes even 10% of our people employed in that factory. The rest are all foreigners. Honorable Speaker, then one wonders, as a country, we have kept saying we need jobs for our youth. Honorable Speaker, it is the high time that we actualize and make sure when this bill is passed, it is assented into law, and we are asking the President, His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, if there is a bill that will verdict us, if there is a bill that will stand in the gap of the youth of this country, is ensuring that 60% of the jobs are given and secured by the locals of this country. Honorable Speaker, occasionally we have seen our local employees being mistreated in their own country. A point in time, Honorable Speaker, there is a time where a Chinese foreigner was seen battling a young, innocent employer in his hotel, Honorable Speaker, and many other incidents that have happened unnoticed and maybe sometimes unreceipted or unreported. Honorable Speaker, we are saying this is the high time that we secure jobs for our children. This is the high time we must think of how we can be able to expand the labor market locally to be able to accommodate all the children that we have encouraged to go to activate institutions, all the children that we are investing in our higher learning institutions, and the very many disciplines that they are taking that are required in most of these organizations. Honorable Speaker, we see even foreigners coming to our country, and they want to insure their vehicles, but instead of having local insurance companies securing them, insuring them, we see them insuring their vehicles, insuring their homes, insuring even their lives abroad. Honorable Speaker, we are speaking to this and we are saying this bill has come at the right time, and this bill has come so that we can be able to support our young men and women. Honorable Madam Speaker, we are not short of people who have gone through education and they have secured themselves very good papers. They have come out with excellent skills in whatever discipline they are required to. And Honorable Speaker, I sincerely want to say, let us come out as a house and support this bill that has been fronted in this house by Honorable Madam Jane Kagiri, and tell her this is timely, this is the right thing for this country, and we are taking this country far if we cannot support this bill, local content bill. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Very well. Honorable Member for Moiben. Not on this. Honorable Member for Nandi Hills, Honorable Bernard Kitur.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to contribute on this very, very important bill in our nation, sponsored by Jane Kagiri, women representative for Laikipia. Honorable Speaker, this bill comes at a time when we've had challenges in our country where foreign companies, foreign institutions who invest in our country many times want to source whether goods or services from abroad, locking out the Kenyans, the locals, who are also need to be given the opportunity to participate in building and supporting those companies because they have the power, they have the ability. But many a times the undermining of the local industries, the undermining of the small SMEs in our country, they are being gagged, not being given the opportunity to be able to also contribute in facilitating the foreign companies who are operating locally, and as well creating, building their own economy. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, this bill, and I want to appreciate that Honorable Jane Kakiri comes from that region, where, for instance, there was a time we were being told that some foreign company around used to even import potatoes from across the seas. Yet these are very available locally if the farmers from within are trained or they are given the right seeds. They are able to produce equally or even much better quality of things, whether services or goods. They can even do better from Kenya. And so since there was no legal framework that would then lock in the foreign companies, that would then lock in investors to be able to have the local participation. And so this bill comes at the right time, where then there will be need for foreign investors locally to be able to give a percentage. And I saw in this the 60% of services, at least 60% of services, supplies and goods from local companies to be able then to support and supply. I think this is very good, Honorable Speaker, because it's going to build also the capacity of the locals so that if foreign companies have particular standards they need to maintain for their goods and services they want to be supplied locally, then we will be able to improve our local business community. And I think then I will support this because it's going to support across, whether it's Nairobi, various parts of the country, it's going to improve so that you can be able to stand to the standards of the international level. So I don't want to belabor much, Honorable Speaker. I came here today just to support this bill and congratulate very much Jane Kakiri for work well done, extreme research that you did. It is extremely timely. You are going to change the lives of many, and we're going to improve the quality of living of the business community in our country. I thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I stand to support.
Very well. Honorable Member for Nyeri Town, Honorable Madenge.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I stand to support this bill. And Madam Speaker, to demonstrate this, I want to use the examples of two state corporations. One state corporation is Kenyan in power generation. Because Kenyan has perfected technology transfer, including in the area of geothermal, we have seen Kenyan use local expertise to go and conduct projects and implement projects on geothermal power generation and electricity generation in Ethiopia. On the other hand, allowing me to use the company that is Kenya Pipeline today, which has a monopoly in oil and fuel storage. Yet, despite the years of existence of Kenya Pipeline and the level of technology advancements, including training in our national polytechnics, training in Kenyan's own Moredat TVET, training of engineers at the degree level in our universities, Kenya Pipeline still outsources the work of maintaining the fuel storage tanks, including welding, to companies, to foreign companies. And we keep wondering how we keep saying that there are no jobs for our middle level technicians and technologists, as well as our engineers. And therefore, it is critical that we have a resolution of this House backed by a legal framework and a policy change that will command that actually 50% or 60% or even 70% of projects being implemented in this country have to have the local content guaranteed, both in terms of use of expertise, technology transfer, and also the use of locally available materials so that the local communities that are hosting the projects can have a sense of ownership. In fact, I would like to push this a little bit further, that Honorable Jane Kagiri consider affirmative action so that even out of that 60%.
Honorable member for Laikipia, it's good to pay attention to what Honorable DMM is saying.
That a certain percentage of the 60% is even locked for the host community. So that, for example, if I use the example of the geothermal plant in Olkaria, out of the 60% that is locked for local content, 10, 15, or 20% is also locked for the host community around Olkaria, so that it can start becoming meaningful to the host communities. They don't just see the smoke. What is the effect does the smoke or the vapor that escapes?
You can also use a buru in Gilgil, which never gets anything from
There again, Madam Speaker. So, Honorable Jane, you have done a very good effort. But in your final submissions, please ensure that, you know, just like we have Batuk in Nanyuki, what content of the Batuk contract benefits the host community in Nanyuki, besides the rest of the country? And Madam Speaker, you'll find that this thing should actually not just extend to international contracts, even local contracts. I have a case where cabbages for Kigajo Police Training College, the tenders are being issued in Nairobi. So how is it cheaper to transport cabbages from Marigiti to Nyeri rather than purchasing cabbages from Shaka Market, which is less than half a kilometer from Kigajo College? Bread, tenders are being issued in Nairobi. How come it is cheaper to transport bread from Nairobi to Kiganjo, yet we have a gentleman we famously referred to as Wangoko manufacturing bread half a kilometer from Kiganjo Police Training College? And these issues, the CSs and the PSs must stop arguing that we are politicizing these things. The local host communities have a stake. Even as the rest of the nation benefits, the local host communities must have affirmative action so that these projects can make sense. Madam Speaker, I recall that in the construction of the SGR, there was a 30% reservation for local suppliers. But when it came to implementation, the local suppliers were still short-changed on the 30% reservations. And therefore, I want to call upon the implementation committee in this house that once we have made resolutions, the following up of the resolutions of the house and how they are being implemented, this committee must stop dropping the ball. Madam Speaker, in fact, I want to propose to this house and to the chair, the Speaker's chair, that it is time, it's 4 years down the line, the implementation committee, Madam Speaker, should be compelled to table a matrix of the implementation of all the decisions that this parliament has made, this house has made up to this point in time. Because we cannot just keep having resolutions made that have far-reaching effects, but immediately they exit here and they are communicated to the relevant ministry or sagas, then they are kept on the back burner. So, Madam Speaker, I want to put my weight wholeheartedly behind this motion by the Honorable Jane Kagiri, and I urge that all of us, we overwhelmingly support it. But beyond that, We have a problem of implementation of programs, projects, and decisions of this house in this country. This house must be more firm in ensuring that the resolutions of this parliament are implemented. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support.
Very well. Member for Matungulu.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. First, I want to thank my sister for coming up with this bill. It is high time, Madam Speaker, the local host communities for some of these multi-internationals to be a true beneficiary of what they are doing on the ground. And I'll put an example. Honorable Madenge has put so many examples, but I'll put an example of Kenyan generating power from the 7 falls in Ukambani. But some parts of the Ukambani area are lacking power. And also, you'll find that we have water in Masinga Dam, which has been put up to generate power. But the local community are lacking water, even to farm with that. And it is the high time, Madam Speaker, to make sure that this bill is fast-tracked, to make sure that the local communities benefit from this kind of intervention from this house. And I want to urge you, Madam Speaker, because you sit in the Speaker's panel. It is not a request. The implementation committee of this house, I've been in this house for the last 10 years, Madam Speaker. They have rarely tabled a matrix or a report of all the resolutions made by the house and how are those resolutions being implemented in this country. Because, Madam Speaker, we are enjoying taxpayers' salaries, benefits, and everything. But we are here to make the life of Kenyans better than the way they are. And this is the kind of amendment and bills which we are going to encourage. If you look at along the river corridor, Madam Speaker, there are so many internationals doing a lot of work, production of cement, production of steel, production of many items which can benefit the host communities, the host counties within that belt. Are these companies really doing that? It is high time we pass this bill, make sure that the 30% proposed by Honorable Kagiri, that it is implemented to the letter and it is followed to each and every company in this country. Because we are crying that the basket is shrinking. That is the truth, Madam Speaker. The cost of doing things in this country is going high, but we still need more money to cushion Kenyans, and this is one way of raising that money to the host community, Madam Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, I stand to support this bill and urge Honorable Kagiri to make sure that we follow it up after it is ascended. It is our duty and your duty to make sure that you appear before the implementation committee and give you a timeline of how they will want to follow up this implementation of this. This is critical because if we pass the bill, it's ascended, and it is not implemented, what are we doing? You'll have wasted your time. So make it upon yourself to follow up with the chair of the implementation committee and make sure that we get real report of how this is implemented in every multi-international. Look at a company like Del Monte with vast land around Thika, Muranga, and part of Ukambani, Madam Speaker. What is the benefit of the host communities there? It is minimal. Actually, they have turned the boys who are trying to survive to be scavengers of the pineapples. And when you are caught, you get into jail. Yet, if they had programs within the area to make sure that the young generation in that area benefit from what they are doing, it will be of great help. I stand to support Madam Speaker and urge that through the leadership of the House, it is a high time the implementation committee tells us how the laws have passed since the inception of this August House in 2022. How many have they been implemented? Because that's where we are failing. We are doing so much good work, but following and implementation becomes a challenge. And this is one
bill whereby I will support Honorable Kagiri. Physically, we go to that committee and tell us, how do they plan to get this implemented? Because I know it will help the people of Matungulu, it will help the people of Baringo, it will help the people of Kenya, and especially the young generation in this country. And we stop crying that we don't have jobs when we can be able to create more jobs. Thank you very much. We support you. I support the bill.
Honorable members, this bill should be replied to in 2 minutes, but I want to indulge member for Chuka Igamba Ng'ombe. If you keep it short, we can be in time.
I'll keep it very short, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I start to support this bill. And just like my colleagues have said, we have sold out our job market to foreigners, Madam Speaker. It's not long to have foreigners in the country, but let have foreigners in the country doing jobs that our people cannot do, doing specialized jobs that we need those specializations. Currently, Madam Speaker, if you go around town, even if you go to a kinyozi, to a spa, even the young boys who used to shave us now are from outside the country. Even the young girls who used to work in our salons, now we have people from neighboring countries working in salons. We have even given out manual jobs that our young people are supposed to be doing. Madam Speaker, this government has really insisted on TVET training. For example, I have a TVET in my constituency with 8,000 students. This year alone, we have graduated around 2,000 students. Where will these students go if all the technical jobs are going to foreigners, Madam Speaker? On the issue of importing products, Madam Speaker, you go to every supermarket today, you see eggs from China. Another day I saw meat. It's called processed meat. You are told made in China. When you are told meat, even lice, now we have lice made in China. The people of Mwea are languishing with lice with nowhere to sell, but your plastic lice made in China. Madam Speaker, it's the high time we protected our people, we protected our economy, and we protected our young people so that they can stop languishing in poverty. Even all this hunger you are seeing with our young people is lack of jobs. So, Madam Speaker, I really support this bill and congratulate Honorable Kagiri.
Very well, right on time. Honorable Jane Kagiri, time to reply.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'll start by thanking my colleagues for the great support they've shown towards this bill. Honorable Speaker, I would want to assure my colleagues that I've taken note of each and every of their contribution, and they're going to see it as we go into the committee of the whole House, and hopefully we eventually see the ascension of this bill. Honorable Speaker, in my response, I would want to say and remind honorable members that it is good I refer to the UNCTAD report of 2024, which indicated that in the year 2023, the foreign direct investment in Kenya was $1.5 billion US. The foreign direct investment outflow that same year was $3 billion US. Honorable Speaker, what I'm trying to indicate is that we are left with only $200 million US that is left in this country after all that deduction. What are we doing, Honorable Speaker? We are just emptying water from one bucket to the other bucket, claiming we are doing something, but nothing is left in our country. Honorable Speaker, in the same year, 2024, the Competition Authority of Kenya also released a report which indicated that 90% of the trucks in this country are owned by Kenyans. However, 70% of all contracts by multinationals, they go to fellow multinationals. Honorable Speaker, these are the equalities that we want to fight for. How can we be owning the trucks, but we don't qualify to get the tenders? We must ensure our Kenyans are given their opportunities. Honorable Speaker, I would want to take us all back to a country called China, which when it started doing its high-speed rail, it engaged the country of France, Germany, and Japan. But in their requirements, they told them they had to leave a skills transfer as they exited the country after that tender. Today, Honorable Speaker, China is the leading constructor of high-speed rails all over the world. That is because they received the skills transfer. Honorable Speaker, I appreciate all the amendments and proposed amendments members have given, including what our proper definition of what a local content is, proper definition of a foreign company, proper definition of even what we are going to be giving as a penalties, as well as our proposal to have a local content compliance authority. Honorable Speaker, all these will be considerations that will be made. Honorable Speaker, let me give a special thanks to the Honorable Member of Matungulu and the Honorable Member of Nyeri for giving us an introduction into something we had not thought about into this bill, because we have to further protect the local host communities, even as we speak about local content as a whole republic. Honorable Speaker, I must also appreciate Honorable Amina Mnazi of Malindi, who brought in the tourism sector also, where we have hotels in Malindi that only employ foreigners, the cooks are foreigners, everything is foreign in those hotels. We must protect our people, we must give them opportunities to serve. Honorable Speaker, allow me to add this because I have collected it in part of my research. Many of these multinationals claim that they give us business because they buy our fuel. Honorable Speaker, in this bill, we are also going to protect that fuel is not a local product from Kenya, such that everybody fuels their car and they want to claim they are giving us business as fuel in this country. That one we will not accept. Honorable Speaker, many people will wonder if our bill is going to cause any investment flight. It is good to assure everybody that the countries that lead in foreign direct investment have even more stringent laws than this country of ours. So if investors are comfortable following laws somewhere else, even in our own country, they should be comfortable. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, in our public participation, many of these investors have given their contribution, and even they themselves have said they require a rule book where they come into this country and know what is expected from them or not expected from them. Honorable Speaker, we must also change our attitude as Kenyans, because anytime we talk about skills from Kenya, products from Kenya, Kenyans will always ask, are we qualified? This bill and the research I have done should clearly tell Kenyans we are even overqualified. It's only that opportunities are not protected for us. And as I indicated when I was presenting the bill, I said this is just buy Kenya, build Kenya in the form of a law, where we are ensuring we can no longer live on goodwill, but even as we can protect our people. Honorable Speaker, I'm a great reader of the good book, the Bible, and in the Bible, God talks of us loving our neighbors. However, in the same Bible, God also talks of him hating fools. We are a good neighbor, we look at our neighbors, we observe all our treaty agreements with our neighbors. However, are we being extended to the same generosity? Honorable Speaker, we must put Kenyans first, even as we go into these trading blocks, these treaties, and all agreements that we have. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, it is good for me to take this Honorable House back to the year 2014, when the Communications Authority put in a regulation that 40% of our broadcasting on Kenyan media houses had to be Kenyan content. I remember, Honorable Speaker, we all went berserk wondering what we were going to watch, and we all kept wondering what our local content would look like. Today, Honorable Speaker, what looked like the impossible is now at 94.6% compliance. Honorable Speaker, this is a bill that can be complied to. This is a bill that people can honor, and this is one bill that is going to ensure our Kenyans get jobs and get opportunities, and even as we become a competitive country, just like any other. Honorable Speaker, I beg to reply.
Very well. We shall defer the putting of the question on this bill to the next appointed time. Next order.
Order number 10, the Prevention of Livestock and Produce Theft Bill, Senate Bill number 12 of 2023, second reading, resumption of debate.
Honorable Zambia was on the floor, had a balance of 6 minutes. I don't see him in the house. So I will give this chance to Honorable Member for Laikipia East. Not in the house. Honorable Barto, are you on this? I need to know if you have indicated that you want to speak on this one. Honorable Barto has already spoken. If you intend to speak to this bill, kindly use the intervention. Honorable Mule.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I would like to stand to support the bill on prevention of livestock and produce theft bill 2023 by Senator Samson Cherargei and co-sponsored by Daud. Madam Speaker, I come from a constituency whereby we neighbor Nairobi. I'm part of my constituency. Quite a number of members put up livestock. Madam Speaker, to bring to attention to this House that actually this bill is extremely timely for us in Matungulu, because only this week, Madam Speaker, because of the heavy rains going on, quite a number of incidents of theft happened on Monday evening, Tuesday evening, and yesterday. And Madam Speaker, sometimes it demoralizes the small-scale farmers who are putting a few livestock to support their families, to be able to meet the day need obligation as a family. I remember yesterday getting a call from one of my constituency, John Bosco Mwema Mudhengi, who had only 7 cows. And during the rain at night, thugs stormed to his residence and stole all the 7 cows, leaving him with nothing to depend on. This guy is not working. This guy depends on his livestock. So, Madam Speaker, this is a bill which we need to take seriously. Madam Speaker, you know, this country, we have suffered a long history of cattle rustling, a long history of cattle theft from the pastoralist communities. And it's high time we support this bill to encourage the county government, because this is a job being dedicated to the chief executive officer in charge of livestock in each county, to come up with mechanisms which prevent, compact, and eventually eradicate livestock and theft in the counties and in the country. Madam Speaker, if we take our role properly and make sure that this bill is enacted, just like the previous bill we just spoke about it, and it's implemented to the letter, will wipe a lot of tears from Kenyans who are suffering from this theft. Madam Speaker, the bill is putting a lot of emphasis on branding, and I want to go further and request Honorable Daud to liaise with the sponsor of the bill that the branding we are talking about, if we want to help our farmers with the new technology in the market and the world we are in, is electronic branding and tracking of vehicles, of the cows. Madam Speaker, KWS has embraced branding by tagging the lions, the elephants, and be able to track them where they are. If we implement the same and the counties implement the same tagging of cows using the electronic devices, when a farmer, a helpless farmer like John Bosco Mudhengi, Mwema, in my constituency, who lost 7 of them a day before, those cows could have been traced electronically. The police and the anti-stock theft could have known where those cows have ended up to. The same time, the bill is addressing registration and designs of branding. Those are the responsibilities of the county government. And I think, Madam Speaker, we need to call upon the county government. Some of these interventions cost very little. But if you look at it, the county government are spending quite colossal amount of money on programs which don't have effect, does not have effect to the common mwananchi. So, Madam Speaker, I stand to support this bill because it is clearly giving a lifeline and a protection to that local farmer. We are not only talking of the local farmers and the small farmers like in my constituency. Madam Speaker, personally, I rear cows in numbers. Sometimes it becomes very difficult to be able to identify all of them. So it is high time the county government to look at interventions which will mean business to the local farmer on the livestock industry. Madam Speaker, if you look at the liveline in Kenya, a local farmer with at least 10 cows, you can be assured, Madam Speaker, his kids will go to school. Because at the end of every year, he'll be able to sell a cow and take that kid to school, pay school fees, and remain with something for the family. If he has cows which can produce milk, you can be assured that family, Madam Speaker, cannot starve of hunger, because in the morning and in the evening, there is production of milk, which is also healthy for our young people who are going to grade 1, grade 2, and also ECD classes, Madam Speaker. So it is a well-timed bill which we need to support, Madam Speaker, and make sure that, Madam Speaker, we look at the offenses. And I want to urge Honorable Daud, being the link of this bill in this House. Some of the penalties you are proposing are quite minimal. Because if you say, Madam Speaker, we look at a fine not exceeding 100,000, and a guy has walked up with Honorable Kiunjuri's 100 cows. He'll sell only one cow, produce that 100,000 bill, and walk away and go and sell the 99. So, Madam Speaker, we must enhance this, Honorable Daud. We must enhance the penalties to make sure that we deter these criminals from continuing causing the mess of livestock stealing. I agree with you on the penalty of not less than 20 years. Because, Madam Speaker, if the guy is on his early 20s and he goes in for 20 years, by the time he comes back, he doesn't have energy even to kick the herd all the way to the market. So we need to look at those penalties. Madam Speaker, there are many, many beneficial proposals on this bill. Madam Speaker, the other issue the bill is trying to advance is the issue of transporting livestock using trucks. Madam Speaker, if you drive along Mombasa Road on a Tuesday, I can assure you you'll meet not less than 20 to 30 trucks ferrying livestock to Nairobi. It is high time, Madam Speaker, the traffic officers and the law enforcement team to make sure that they make sure that those trucks have proper licenses of transport of livestock, and if possible, a manifest of how many sheep are you carrying, how many goats are you carrying, how many cows are you carrying, and where did you get them from? Because that is the easiest way to stop this movement. Because you'll find a theft will happen in the deep, deep areas of this country. Yet there is a truck stationed in a riverbed, whereby the livestock will come and be loaded in and transported into Nairobi, and there are so many slaughterhouses. The bill also, we need to address issue of the slaughterhouses we have in this town, Madam Speaker. And I will kindly, if you can add only me 2 minutes, Madam Speaker, please.
1 minute, Honorable Mule.
Thank you. We need to address seriously the issue of the slaughterhouses, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, when we were growing up, we knew the only slaughterhouses which were authorized to slaughter cows were fully controlled by the local government. Today, Madam Speaker, you go to every town, there is mushrooming of slaughterhouses whereby we don't know whether they have vets, they have control, and they have even licenses to do that. So I want to thank Honorable Daud and Senator Chelegei for this bill, because it's the high time. Now we address the issue through the law so that those who are benefiting from this business of livestock theft should be taken to court, should be held accountable through law, and there is no escape route, Madam Speaker. I support.
Very well. Honorable Mwangi Kiunjuri.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I want from the onset to appreciate this bill. It is timely. And my position is very clear that I support. Madam Speaker, if you look at the history of this country, the bills that have been there before, the laws that are there, and you ask yourself where the rain started beating us, why even today we are suffering as farmers. Madam Speaker, this bill has come at the right time. However, Madam Speaker, you can bring so many good laws, but if you're not going to appreciate these laws, if there is no enforcement, once again, this will be a piece of paper. Madam Speaker, if you look at what is happening in the country, and mostly isolated areas, and you must be able to acknowledge that one cow stolen from a poor farmer in Laikipia, and 100 cows stolen from a rancher in Laikipia, the pain is the same. And therefore, Madam Speaker, once you're addressing this matter, and I'm very happy to see that the counties have a bigger role to play this time around, a national government is coming up. It is good for us to understand that they're complementing each other. The county government, national government, and the leadership will be very important for us to be able to move forward and to ensure that this practice come to an end. Madam Speaker, if I look at, for example, my county, where I come from, we border Saburu, we border Isiolo, we border Pokot, we border Baringo, and we have real issues on livestock theft. Madam Speaker, if you look at practices that are happening there, why these issues happen, you realize that before even law enforcement officers come in, our own understanding, our neighbors and ourselves, sitting down together, are able to regulate most of these things. However, Madam Speaker, when now the issue of cartels comes in, that it is a trade, Madam Speaker. It is not just about petty thieves. It's about cartel well established. Because sometimes you wonder, how can you drive 1,000 head of cattle, even 100 heads of cattle? They disappear somewhere, not even in the forest, somewhere in a plateau, and they disappear and they are never recovered. Where do these people take these animals? Yes, they are hiding places where they can be able to hold these animals for 1 or 2 months. However, end game, there will be market for these animals. It is important when it comes to enforcement that we come out clearly and name cartels, name those who are involved. And it's a big trade, Madam Speaker. And before you address that, then whatever you try to bring up, you'll be just in futility. Madam Speaker, if you look at the one cow farmer, for example, those people living in Trukuma in Laikipia East constituency, they have been suffering for the last 8 months, whereby every night they come in, they will steal 20 chicken, they will take 1 goat, they will slaughter 1 cow, and end game, you ask yourself, if 20 chicken are stolen, where is the market? If 1 goat is stolen, where is the market? And there is evidence that it was slaughtered. And therefore, this brings in the issue of eatery places. Those small joints in towns, those major joints in towns where these meat or stolen products are sold. And therefore, when it comes to the issue of identification, we also need to go deeper and understand how are we going to track down those eatery joints so that we can be able to establish their sources of materials. Because you wonder, a joint is open today, you never see these people in slaughter buying meat, but they are permanently supplying. Where are they getting their supplies? And this can only be done in conjunction with the enforcement officers, who either don't care, those who are keeping the regulations, and those who are supposed to track down the thieves. And lastly, you come to understand that there is always collusion between enforcement officers and the thieves, Madam Speaker. For me, I believe that by enforcing this, it will be better laws to this country. But again, we must achieve our intention, we must achieve our purpose. We ensure that farmers and traders are also not targeted as we come to implementation, because again, it will open another Pandora's box, whereby now enforcement officers, instead of enforcing, they will take advantage of now receiving bribes from the same thieves that we are trying to protect ourselves from. We must make sure that the farmer down in the village is well protected, that this marking is not just in futility, that we must ensure that when it comes to marketing, that is where the actual problem will be sorted out. Madam Speaker, counties must also be empowered. National government comes in and in a joint venture, ensure that we have tracking technology, proper technology, to ensure that the effectiveness will be felt across, so that at least one will be able to understand that if I'm caught in a community trying to push the question of theft or being in collaboration or whoever is doing it, there will be serious consequences. Madam Speaker, this issue, if well addressed, we will be able to take care of those families who have been properly impoverished. Madam Speaker, a family with one cow, if you steal that cow, you deny that cow, that family livelihood in terms of even what they eat on a daily basis. A person with only 5 goats, if a child is thrown out of school, they can be able to sell 1 goat for 15 shillings, 1,000, and that is money enough to pay school fees for a day school for a whole year. But us sitting here, we think that 1 goat is nothing to those farmers. But those farmers, 5 goats alone, a farmer is able to educate his kid, day school, from 1 to from 4. They only need to sell 1 goat. End of the year, the goat that was left can be able to give birth to another 1 or so. And in the process, the 5 goats in 5 years will have sustained that family. So we must make sure that this law is applied the right way, for that with 1 goat and to that with 1,000 goats, so that at least Kenyans will be able now to understand even economic part of it, Madam Speaker. Lastly, Madam Speaker, it is good to be fair, sensitive, and at the same time, you become very transparent and ask county government to take their responsibilities seriously. Because movement from one county to another, even if you are walking across one county to the other, you are able to be monitored. We shall be able now to know, once we mark these animals, that this animal comes from this county, comes from this village, comes from so and so, and they must be properly protected. I would also like us to look at it and we sensitize those counties that are really doing livestock farming. For example, you have Samburu and Laikipia. So that we also don't cause tension, because not everybody who is coming from Samburu to Laikipia comes with bad intention. Not everybody moving from Laikipia to Isiolo moves with bad intention. And therefore, we should also have this public participation, sensitization, so that we can know when we have free movement, the urgency of it, when to allow it, but not just free movement without respecting boundaries. Madam Speaker, with those few remarks, I want once again to support this bill, and it's a bill that is making us make another step in the right direction. Madam Speaker, I support.
Next chance to the member for Marsabit, Honorable Wako.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support this bill on prevention of livestock and produce theft bill 2023. I also want to congratulate the sponsor of the bill and also the co-sponsor, because this bill will help many livestock farmers who have suffered in the hands of criminals, who have suffered in the hands of bandits, who have suffered because they have nothing that can protect them. Honorable Speaker, if we just reflect on the life of a simple livestock farmer who has maybe 50 or 20 cows, and he has no bank account, no other business, and his entire family depends on the livestock. And most of the time, the livestock farmers cannot even afford to buy a shoe for themselves. They cannot afford to dress well. They cannot afford to make their life live a better life. But all they know and all that they have is the cows, the goats, and the camel. And they take care of those animals religiously, such that if drought comes, it's like, you know, death sentence have been given to them. And Honorable Speaker, unfortunately, those livestock farmers have suffered because of cattle rustlers who have been attacking them from time to time. I come from Marsabit, which has suffered for the last many years, since I have known myself, because you keep few animals, the attackers come, they run away with the animals, and before they go far, they can even sell the animals, and then they get onto a bus and get back to their county or their station. And even follow up, because the county security team have always said, let us follow the footsteps, let us see where they have passed, let us get hold of this village and make sure that they produce the attackers. It has never happened. In fact, the last that happened in less than 2 months' time claimed the life of 2 people, and about 14 animals were killed with bullets because the attackers were that rough. They killed the people and they killed the animals. And they ran away with the remaining animals. And up to today, that happened like 40, 45 days ago. Up to today, the attackers have not, you know, the team, because there were about 15, 16 of them, only 2 people died. And they, through the identification, they were able to know the villages they come from, their names, and everything. But unfortunately, up to today, those attackers and the remaining 14 of them have not been identified, and the police have not even given us any update. And I visited the 2 families, and they lost all the animals. They have lost their breadwinner. The family is still young. One mzee has young sons. None of them is employed, and they are just seated there not knowing what to do next. The other one is a NPR, and he has a young family. His firstborn is less than 7 years, and his lastborn is 1 year old. He lost his father under the same circumstances. He lost his grandfather in the same village. And when you visit that village, you see all the 3 graves. It's such a sad, sad thing. And it is the responsibility of any government to protect the lives of the people, the citizens, and their property. This bill will solve that problem. And this bill provides legal framework for the identification of livestock. It may be costly, but it will help us. And my prayer is that the county government will give all the attention that this bill deserves so that all the animals will be identified, will be able to be identified, and they will have the mark that, you know, the owner or the security team, in case of any loss, will be able to follow and bring back the animals. Again, this bill, the bill will also take care of the movement of livestock. As I told you previously, the security team and the local elders, they used to follow the footsteps without knowing what to do. And sometimes they get into the forest and they tell you, now we cannot go beyond here. This bill will help us to know the movement of livestock from where, you know, but the moment they leave their boma, the village, and to wherever the animals will be taken. Again, the bill will take care, will serve as a purpose of prevention of livestock theft, because by doing all this, putting all these control measures in place, we'll be able to prevent the theft of animals. Again, regulation of trade in livestock. Sometimes animals taken from the village, one village in Marsabit, Isiolo, or anywhere, will be sold here in Dagoretti, and people will consume the meat, and the owner is suffering or already dead and buried. But by doing this, we will be able to control every animal, to know where the animals are, to control the trade, and even to make sure that they don't go beyond a certain stage. Honorable Speaker, if there is anything that will benefit our livestock farmers, it is this bill. Again, when it comes to maybe the people, the attackers, the rustlers, and when it comes to the fines, we need to put more penalties so that if you are found guilty, you can even be imprisoned for the rest of your life, because you have destroyed somebody's life, you have destroyed people's business and life and family, and there is no way you can just be taken into prison for 10, 20 years. Let it be life imprisonment so that these people can know that the moment you are there, then you will face the rules or the law. Honorable Speaker, I support this bill, and it is my prayer that soon our President will assent to this. That will give us, and especially pastoralists, a relief. Thank you.
Very well. Member for South Imenti.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to this auspicious bill. This bill is long overdue, and I thank the honourable members for having endeavored to bring this particular bill. Madam Speaker, this bill has clear objectives, especially, Madam Speaker, to strengthen prevention of livestock theft. Livestock theft has been a traditional and has been there time immemorial, especially across the boundaries, the inter-tribes, especially along the borders. Recently, we experienced a lot of livestock clustering between the Saburus and the Meru, that's Meru North. And also, Madam Speaker, it is not only in northern grazing areas that this activity is practiced, but also we realize in areas where high-grade animals are kept, animals are stolen for slaughter. Madam Speaker, to introduce measures to curb cattle rustling and related crimes is very vital, especially whereby we are supposed to have legal issues implemented. Madam Speaker, the objective of having this bill, especially whereby we enhance surveillance and monitoring of livestock movement. Livestock movement should be monitored from one region to another, especially where the security authorities have roadblocks. We also realize that most of the livestock stolen are